welcome to all of you. We truly appreciate you taking time off your busy schedule to join us. Without further ado, now I would like to invite here on stage Professor Mohamed Sulaiman to give his talk on anatomy of quality research.
Thank you. My slides in? Yeah? Slides.
Very good morning to faculty members and students of Malaysia University of Science and Technology. As I've shared with you yesterday, today is D-Day. D-Day, you have a Professor Emeritus and one of the highly respected professors, not only in Malaysia, but in the region. So we are very honored to have him here to come and share with you his thoughts and look at his topic. Interesting topic. Anatomy. Okay? For those who are from the science background, you know what is anatomy, right? So it's about anatomy of research. So I mean to say that it's about the structure. Yeah, it's about the structure of how to conduct research. So please not just only hear, listen what he got to say, but please, I hope that you also pose some questions that you are looking where you have not been satisfied with the answer that I or your supervisors has responded to you. If you have anything like that at the back of your mind, some of the doubts which has not been answered, this is the best session for you. Yeah, and I'm sure you will enjoy the session. Okay, okay, Prof.
Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to my brother, Professor Prem Kumar. Yeah, I call him brother because he was with me for a long time in Penang. You know, starting from he was still very junior when he joined me in the class called Diploma in Management of MIM. So we started this program in MIM, and he joined the class from Intel. And he finished that. He said he wants to study more. He joined the BBA program, also from MIM, from University of RMIT. Yeah, I was teaching those as well. So we developed from there, so we can call him brother. And then he joined me for PhD after that. That's a development of education, which I think was very interesting, because he missed out on going to Form 6 or matriculation, but he has that urge in himself to study. And I think that's a spirit of education which I think was brought up from his parents or his mother, to appreciate knowledge, to value knowledge. And so it goes for all of you as well. Because at advanced age, you're still studying. I know some of my friends here as well. Just one of them. Kamal is another one. Who's still pursuing education. after, I consider them advanced age. Or developed age. It's never too old to study. That is the message from, of course, our great leader, Dr. M. Mohamed. He said he reads books every day, and I think education is for that purpose, to continue to learn and develop by reading, by research, as in your case, you're doing research. Of course, not all of us are fortunate. I was one of those who were quite fortunate. I finished PhD before I was 40, so it's, I think it's an advantage which not everybody can get. All right, so let's continue with our discussion today. Welcome to this session. I may have to go quite fast if we're going to finish this one, because it's meant for 3 hours. But whatever lapses, that you can ask me a little bit later, okay? But in the meantime, do interject whenever you like it, because there are quite a lot of things in this message of about 2.5 hours or 2-hour session here. All right, our topic is this, anatomy of quality research. As Prof. Graham said just now, anatomy is something to do with the human body, or parts of the human body, that is. So what we're going to talk about is parts of what is quality research, right? And the PhD or DBA is one of those things, yeah? That you've got to have quality research. So what I'm going to discuss with you is what is that? What is those parts that make it a quality research? Okay? I need this, right? Which one? Up or down? Second. Below. All right. So I start with this. I'm from, I was from IIUM, so we got to start with something from the Quran. But there is something to be learned from here. The truth is from thy Lord, so be not at all in doubt. What I want to emphasize here is this, the truth. The truth is of concern. In any research, what we want to discover is the truth. Okay? Whatever it may be. Is the pursuit of truth is the key to getting quality research. And that intensity of trying to get to the truth is of utmost importance, right? So we are going to endeavor to do research to get to the truth. So starting from that, what is research? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. What is research? Some confusions, right? Even on this I can dwell with you for 2 hours. What is knowledge? What is the truth? And what is a thesis? All right, criteria for evaluation of a thesis. So I'm going to go through as much as possible, but as I said, it might not be enough time for that. And I'm going to go further than that. What are the guidelines that are given to people or professors evaluating the research according to some universities? And then the contents of quality research. I'm quite sure that most of you doing the PhD have gone through research methods, right? So we're going a little beyond that research methods class, with some emphasis on certain areas, and some areas, of course, I leave it to your lecturers to go over it. Okay, you know all this, I'm quite sure. This is from the dictionaries. All right, what is research? See it? Some words I have underlined those words, okay? The first one is about systematic investigation, okay? To establish facts or to reach new conclusions. The word facts is very important, right? So we want to find the facts. Next one is to discover new or collect old facts by scientific critical investigation. So that's another definition of what is research. The last one is about the truth. As I said earlier, we want to discover the truth in whatever that we are doing. Okay? Just like the judge on the High Court, trying to discover the truth about the case. That's what the kind of quality that we want in a research project, especially PhD research, right? So we want to discover the truth. But what is the truth? It says the facts. We don't know what is facts is yet. And what is truth? So this goes into the arena of philosophy. Facts and truth goes back into the area of philosophy. So we have to know a little bit of philosophy as well. So what are facts? So fact is what is known to have occurred, to exist, that we can use as evidence. All right? So that is a fact. The truth might be the same because it says facts equivalent to truth, but it's not exactly the same. Yeah? It's not exactly the same. You can imagine this is a fact, but the truth might be different. One? Can I ask you one? This could be a fact, but it might not be the truth. Why is that? Any of PhD students here? What is the difference between fact and truth? You say this is a pen, so what is a pen? Of course it is a truth as well. See, this is a pen and this is a truth. But it might not be so in other situations. The fact and truth might differ. Just in the case of the judge in the High Court. See? The fact is what happened. Like a murder case, for example. What happened in the murder case is the fact. But to discover the fact, you have to find the truth. But the truth might be different because the truth is limited by the presentation of the prosecution, of the prosecutors, who brings the fact to the court. Now the truth comes in the judge's head or the jury, if you tried by jury. You see, that's the truth. So, see, there's slight difference because the truth comes in the mind. See, so that's a little difference, of course. Yeah? Because whatever you discover may be only part of the truth. See, part of the truth. You know what happens in the O.J. Simpson case? You know O.J. Simpson case? The footballer who killed his former wife. One court says he's guilty. The other court says he's not guilty. See what happens. Over the same situation. You see, the criminal court freed him. But the civil court says so the verdict was against him in the civil court. But in the criminal court, there's not enough evidence because evidence in the criminal court was beyond reasonable doubt. So on that case, he was free. In the same county, the other court says he's culpable. So that's the problem. See, there is a slight difference. You know, of course, another situation of the 6 blind men and the elephant. Yes, and the elephant. You see, each blind man will see what he sees as the truth. So he says it's a snake. See? The other one says it's like a tree trunk. Another one says it's like a wall. You see all that. So where is the truth? All of them do not get the truth. You see, so that is the difference between fact and truth. Yeah, sure. The truth is in the mind. Yes, yes, yes. So what is in the mind? We'll go further. Finishing the truth. All right, just before that, let's go through this part a bit. Some confusions, as I said, of what is a PhD research, what is consultancy, what is a master's research, you know, that kind of stuff. What is DBA? It's another one. Which can be same, which can be different. And of course, in terms of quality, we say it's different, one to the other, right? We say there are levels. Okay, let's go through this. But the question here is whether research is important to do all of them. Definitely research is important. To write a book, what is a book? It's published document. That's called a book, generally, right? What is a novel? A novel is a book, and mostly it is fictional, right? So that is a novel. Next one. What is consultancy report? Consultancy report. Anyone bother to answer from PhD group? What is consultancy report? Yes? Yeah. Okay. Right. Yes. In other words, you have a client to serve, and the client asks you to do a certain project, and then you get paid for, right? All right. So you have a master. Okay. Next one. What is a thesis? A thesis can come in many forms, as I mentioned already, masters, even bachelors in some cases, and PhD, DBA. All right, so you have various kinds of thesis. What is a PhD thesis? That is the highest level, of course, in any university. The highest level is the PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. What is that? What is a DBA thesis? So this is what we're going to do alone. What is a master's thesis? And the question, the last one is research important to do any of this or all of them? What conclusion can you draw? Research is important or not? If you have to write a novel, yes? No? Just come from imagination? Purely? Can you write a good novel? If you are in the level of Asimov or that kind of thing, it might be possible. Yeah. But not many people are at that level. Yeah? Yeah. To do good, to be a good novelist, you have to do research. Yeah, because not all of us actually goes around the world to every situation. See? Or have the same experiences. Or have very unique experiences to write about. So you have to do research. By doing research, reading other people's writing, you get to share what he experienced. See? What he has experienced. I love this guy called Jeffrey Archer. Yeah? Any one of you fan of Jeffrey Archer? I'm a great fan of his. I follow almost every novel or short story he writes because it's interesting, it's realistic, and he has a flair with words. That's very important. So if you have not been introduced to Jeffrey Archer, please start reading Jeffrey Archer and selling his novels on his behalf. Yeah, he's a very, very interesting writer. And he's got a very good, very colorful history about himself. He was chairman of the Conservative Party in the UK. Yeah. Oxford graduate, He did not become a minister, but he was a MP for one constituency in the UK, England. Right? So that is, from there on, I leave you to to find for yourself about Jeffrey Archer. Okay, so he writes novels, and his novels are very intriguing. Yeah, in reading novel terms, yeah, they call him. His books are unputdownable. His books are unputdownable. That means you cannot put it down. You continue to read and read. See, that's the level he's got. Okay. So we want to go to consultancy. We have done that. Okay, PhD, DBA, master's thesis. What's the difference? Any idea? Any one of you doing master's thesis? No? PhD? Any one of you? How many? Oh, okay. So answer this question. Can you answer this question? You're doing what? DBA? PhD? All PhD. Okay. So is there any difference, you think, among these levels? Yes? Any idea at all? The same? Who was that? Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Anybody else want to reply to that? No? Okay. So just think about it for the time being. We'll come back to that shortly. Okay? Okay, now, PhD research is about trying to understand or have knowledge of a phenomenon. I call this a phenomenon. Okay? So you want to have knowledge, have understanding of a happening. A happening. Yeah? Can be mechanical engineering happening, or it can be business kind of happening, or it can be other areas. But it must refer to a certain happening, phenomenon, which is not yet understood or fully understood. So that is what PhD research is about. So you have to find a phenomenon that is not fully understood. That means there is a gap in the knowledge, right? And you have to establish that gap in the knowledge so that you can claim certain contribution to knowledge, to knowledge, theory. So that is a PhD research. All right. So that what will tell you that? You have to understand what is knowledge. You have to know what is the truth. See? And you should be able to explain the phenomenon. So that is what is a PhD is about. To find a certain phenomenon, a happening that is not fully understood, that means you can make a contribution and get the truth behind that. Okay? To explain the phenomenon. All right. So what is a phenomenon? Don't go away from that first one, about the PhD. We haven't finished it because there is a master's as well as a DBA. So we come back to that later on. Okay, what is happening? Happening to my mind is like a ghost. It's something that is interesting, intriguing, like the ghost. Are you afraid of ghosts? You know, my little grandson, 3 years old, when he was about 3 years old. He said he's not afraid of ghosts. Now his grandma said, you go under the bed? No, I can't. You won't go under the bed. Well, could be a goblin inside there. So that's the kind of thing. You know it is. You're not sure that there is one, but there could be one. So that is the kind of phenomenon. So like a ghost as well, you know stories of ghosts, of course. There are many kinds of ghosts, right? There are many kinds of ghosts. The Chinese have certain kinds of ghosts. The Malays have got certain kind of ghosts as well. The Malays have got Hantu Raya, is a big one. You have Hantu Toyo, you have Hantu Kubur, you know. So many kinds of ghosts. Similarly, in doing PhD research, there are many kinds of ghosts which are not yet understood, you know. So that's what we are after in doing research. Okay? So this is the explanation of what is a phenomenon is that a happening or an event that occurred. See? Like what? Like all these are happenings. See? Thunder, the most impressionable ones, especially when you're a younger age, is about lightning and thunder. That's why that comes first in my mind. Lightning and thunder. Because it's, you know, the impact is huge on you. Thunder, especially. Right? So it's like that. It's a flash and a big sound. So just keep that in mind. It's a flash, but it's got a big sound. So that creates impression on your mind. Okay? And those are the kind of things that will be very important to do research on. It's a flash and then the big sound. See? Because it's very attention catching. It catches your attention. And research must be of that kind too. See? Alright, UFO, Bigfoot, floods. So those are happenings. Does it occur every time? Every year? Regularly? Might not be there. So these things don't happen all the time, but it happens regularly, maybe, sometimes not even regularly. So these are things which can be the focus of research. Okay, like HIV, H1N1, I don't know now, H5N9 or something, all right, Ebola, see? So this kind of things. Okay, next one is what? The fall of Singapore, that's his historical kind of study. Disappearance of, it's not resolved yet, 370. Yeah? We have stopped doing research on it now, but the problem is still there, still unresolved. We don't even know where the plane is. We know it's there somewhere. Because we got parts of it in Africa, so we know it's somewhere there. Okay, next one is what? Coming closer to management area. And my area is in management. Financial crisis, oil price shocks, or declining exchange rate. So these are the kinds of research which can go on and on. Okay? All right. This strategic management will come from this one. Some companies are very successful. Some companies are a failure. So that's strategic management will focus on that. Performance of companies. Some good, some bad. The question is why and how. See? So that is a phenomenon of research focus. Next one is what? Employees, that's a human resource management area. Motivation of workers. Okay, next one is what? Okay. We go back, huh? How do we go back? Okay, right. Stock prices, that's another very interesting area of research, especially for those in finance area. And this one can go on and on as well. Okay? Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Have a good day. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So before we go to this, any questions first? Anything you'd like to ask? Yes. Against. Okay. That's the very crux of research focus. Something that is overly done is not worthwhile doing it. Yeah. So that is, you see, you go over it and over again, you don't find anything new. That's why the literature is very important. So an area that is overly researched, you find it difficult to sell. See? So you get something that is fresh. It's difficult to answer that question. Yeah, so you got to go from, it'll be different from one area to another. You know, finance, management, you know, so it's so a general answer might not be possible. You have to look at the proposal and we can evaluate from that. Yes, any other question? Okay, let's continue. Knowledge. So this is where I mentioned to you, it goes into the philosophy part. You know, knowledge, we want to gain knowledge, to be able to explain. So what is that word, knowledge? So knowledge is about know, the word know. Know means what? To have a mind, have learned, to be able to recall, good command, have experience, all those things. But the key word here for researchers is this too. Particularly the first one that I underlined. You should be able to distinguish. That's very important. Not many students get this far actually. So the first one, to be able to say you know, is you should be able to distinguish. Okay? Distinguish means to differentiate this from that. That's the first level of knowing. Yeah? I was told long ago that when Adam, you know, our great-great-great-grandfather, came to earth, God asked him to do this. What did God ask him to do? The command was give names. Because before Adam, there were no names. You know? Names like what? This is a horse. This is a camel. This is a goat. This is a sheep. This is a rabbit. So God asked him to give names. Right? How do you think Adam pursued that? To give names? Any idea? How do you think he did to give names? Yes? Understand? Okay. Right? Good. Any other idea? How do you think he give names? This is Langsat tree. This is Duku tree. This is durian tree. This is nangka tree. You see, they're very close. How do you think you go about it? Okay. Good. Yeah. Through experience, of course. But what is more than that? Simpler than that. Okay. You can't have experience in everything, okay? Ah, yes. Yes. By observation, of course. Yeah. Of course, taste as well doesn't give you experience. And this will give you, this is durian. This is mangosteen, because of those attributes. That means they are different. One group of tree is different from another tree. And even among the durian, I hope you're familiar with durian, huh? Right. Okay, so this is durian musangking. This is durian 101. This is durian D24. They're not the same, even though smell might be the same, but you go deeper, it might be different. See, durians, they all have thorns outside, and they have flesh inside, yellow, yellowish, or some even orangish. I'm a durian farmer, so I can tell you a lot. Yeah. I can sell you durian as well. Okay. All right, so this, you should be able to distinguish. That's the first level of knowing. Just like you know, this is Ahmad, this is Reza, you know, this is Ali, so they're different. Okay? You tell them from differences. See, that leads into our research. I'm not telling you for nothing, this one. But that leads into our research. There's a link with the research. The first level of to tell that you know something is to be able to distinguish, to tell differences. And that goes into the techniques of the test of differences. That's why statistics is there. See? Okay, so this we'll go further into this later on. The next one is, well, this is referring to Hospice. Hospice writes Introduction to Philosophy. So I take a little bit from there. So I said just now, to be a good PhD student, you have to know a little bit of philosophy. See? Okay, next one is about knowledge. We did something about knowledge just now already. But going deeper into that is awareness, familiarity with, through justified belief, certain understanding, learning, and scholarship. That is what is knowledge. It is a big world out there. Yeah? About knowledge. But the two keywords for our concern in doing research is these two. Are this understanding and scholarship. Of course, learning. Understanding gives you the ability to explain. Okay, explain. See, not like the 6 blind men, but to explain holistically as a whole. See, the 6 blind men will explain the elephant is like the snake, which is totally wrong, because that's only part of it. So to be holistic, you have to have a picture of the whole elephant animal. Okay, so this is bigger. And scholarship. Scholarship comes with those, the ability to understand, to explain, to communicate. To communicate. That means at the end of it, you have to write a thesis, a report of what you have done, the research. And get it across to whom? You write your thesis for whom? Examiners, yes. Supervisor, examiners, and then after that to the journal editors. That is the purpose. Okay? Concepts. Okay, beyond that, of course, if we are in management, communicate with the managers, how you can apply it. Okay, so that's the next one. All right, the basic of knowledge is to go back. In study of science, you have to go back to the atom, molecule, proton, of that particular element. Right. So in our case, is about the mind. The mind goes to ideas. Yeah, ideas about the idea, about whatever research or phenomenon it is. Right. So about concepts, experience, impressions. So this is going to explain the knowledge that you have gained from the research. Okay. When can you claim you have certain knowledge of something? This is again about the philosophy I was telling you about. You can claim certain amount of knowledge when you have got these things. What is that? Number one, you should be able to distinguish or differentiate. I told you about the durian, the nangka. So when you can tell this is durian tree, this is a nangka tree. You know nangka? Nangka is a jackfruit. Have you tasted those people from Iran? I met two girls just now from Iran. Nangka, have you tried? So you don't know the nangka. See, durian? Yes, you know a little bit about durian. Well, you know what the fruit is like. You have seen it, you see what's inside. You know what the taste is like? No? How about the smell? You know the smell of durian, right? Okay, so you know something, but you don't know about nangka. So next time you go and try nangka. So that is the kind of thing that we can tell. See? Or duku and ansat is another one. A very good example. The fruit is very similar. But the taste of duku and ansat are different apart. So this is the kind of thing. And further than that, of course, in research, you should be able to tell the confidence level of those differences. I mentioned to you, you have to make this connection to statistics. And nowadays, statistics is well developed. You can tell with a certain amount of confidence level. You see? You know what they are? How to tell differences? Statistically? Any idea? Yes? That's why they teach us statistics. Those of you doing PhD, how do you tell differences? Yes? Confidence level, yes. What tools do we use to tell differences? That's the first question. What tools do we use? I'm sure they teach you statistics, yeah? Yes? Yes, right, yes. The first test will be t-test. T-test is the simplest one. It's called the student t-test. For two characteristics you can test, right? Not more than two. Then more than two, you have to go to F-test, chi-square test, ANOVA, right? Even to the level of discriminant analysis. See? even cluster analysis. So that will tell you differences. Okay? All right. So to show differences, and that will give you also the level of significance. And we take only a certain level of significance. Normally 0.05 level of significance, right? So that you have certain confidence in yourself that that is the characteristic of the two samples being different. Okay, so this is, so you don't learn statistics for nothing. It's to be used in your research. Okay, next one is to show a relationship. How do you do this? To show a relationship. Certain things, they come together. So they come together. Certain things, they go the opposite way. See? Like what? Can you tell me? Very common phenomenon. Yes? Pardon? Ah, yes, right, yes. Yes, like that. Or in England they will say mushroom and rain. You heard of mushroom and rain? Even here we use that as well, that expression. Like mushroom after the rain. You know, so what is that? Mushroom grow after the rain, so there is a correlation. See, the rain is not the cause of mushroom, definitely. But it is, it correlates. Or you put fertilizer, you get more fruit. When you put fertilizer, there will be more flowers. See, like that. So they go together. Right? Productivity goes together with motivation, for example. Now it's like that. So some things correlate with one another. And that can be tested as well through correlation. See, that's the link. If you can show that there is correlation between this variable, and we go into research, this variable and another variable, we call it a relationship. There is a certain relationship. Only that far, certain correlation. Something that works together or opposite direction, negatively to one another, or no correlation. See? Then you can tell that is, something about that. Okay? About these two variables, that's all. Yeah. Okay, next one. You should be able to predict. You have to make prediction. How do you make this prediction? Yes, exactly. You have to have a model. See? You have to have a model. Y is a function of x1, x2, x3, x4, that kind of thing. See? So you have a model. So Y being the dependent variable. And this dependent variable should reflect your what? Earlier we mentioned about? That Y, the dependent variable, should reflect what? Should? Okay. We should be reflecting your phenomenon. You heard about the phenomenon earlier, right? So it should be reflecting at least some aspect of the phenomenon. You can't be studying all the aspects of the phenomenon. So you are referring to a particular aspect of the phenomenon. Okay? Because there are many dimensions of the phenomenon, which goes beyond the 3 or 5 year kind of work. You may need more time. Or sometimes you may use Y1, Y2, Y3. See? Which are different dimensions of the same phenomenon. Yeah? You can imagine in your research, you are studying a hill. You know a hill? A hill, how many dimensions would have got? Yeah? How many dimensions would have got? A hill? There are not many hills around here. Bukit Lanjan. Yeah? Bukit Lanjan is just behind here. See? There are many dimensions of that, you see, of that hill. You go this way, it's different from going another way, for sure, right? And how do you explain this? You want to study the whole hill. So you take only one or two particular routes in your research. And that is not, you know, when you study this way, it might be different from you study that way. And when we study the other way. You know what I mean? So what you study as your dependent variable is only one route to understanding that hill. And to understand the phenomenon, there could be many hills, not just this hill. You see? And to make prediction, you have to have that model. Y equals to A constant plus B x1, B2, x2, B3, x3, and so on. And plus, at the end, don't forget, there is E. What is this E? Error, yes, there must always be error. However thorough you have been, there will always be unexplained things that need to be considered later. See? So you have that model, and we have what is called R square. Okay? The fit of that model, or goodness of fit of that model. Okay? And using that, we can make prediction. Okay? And still it's not fully understood, because as we say just now, you take one route, but the best of all, to say that you have knowledge is the last one. You are able to show causes and effect, not just a correlation, not just phenomenon. See? That normally is beyond our area of management. Yeah? That means you have to experiment, eliminate out all other possibilities. Then that is the best knowledge of all. Okay? Then you can give treatment accordingly. You know? Cancer is caused by this. Or dengue is caused by this virus. Right, then you can give, if we have the treatment, we can give treatment. Okay? So this is the point where you can claim you know something. Okay? Right. Now, I told you about the truth. It's a very confusing thing. Okay, this is about the truth. We said we do research to find the truth. So this is what the truth is. State of affairs which is actual, justifiable. Truth as correspondence with fact, then that is the truth. But to find that truth is not easy, because that fact has happened already. See? The fact has happened already. And to get to the truth is not easy. Just like the murder case I told you about. The truth as coherence among prepositions. So that's what we normally do, or we can accept. The truth as coherence, that means coming together. That means you have good model fit. See, the R square is reasonably high. See? And that model is significant. So that's what it means. The truth as coherence of the propositions. It means you can accept or you can get support for your hypothesis. Okay, so this is, I refer to that book just now I mentioned to you. So take a look at it. For all PhD students, I would suggest you take a look at it. Okay, next one is the truth as quality of being true. See, and the truth is another definition of truth. Truth is what is accepted as true. Can we accept that? For researchers, actually that's a very weak one. What is accepted as true is a myth. Know about King Solomon's mind? Have you read that old British literature book? Old Solomon's Mines. King Solomon's Mines. It's those days of the British Empire, the explorers. See, it's another novel that is referring to those exploration days. So there was a tribe in Africa, and this tribe caught a few British explorers, and they wanted to put them in the pot. You know for what? In the pot, yes. What do you think? For dinner, yes. Yeah, they want to put them in the pot. But these guys, the British being smart, of course, they know something about the eclipse of the sun. See? So this is the power of education, power of knowledge. So we got this. So they know on that particular day, at noontime, there will be eclipse, complete eclipse of the sun. So if you put me onto the pot, the earth will be gone. There will be complete darkness and there will be no more. See? They are almost in the pot already. So we waited until 12 o'clock, noon. Really, there was an eclipse. And these Britishers also know how long the eclipse will last. So that's the power of knowledge. That if you let me go, in 2 hours, I erase this darkness and we'll all be alive. And true enough, after 2 hours, the sun is gone. The sun is back again. Okay, so this is. But all those guys believe that this fellow has got a certain control over the world, you see. So they make this guy the king of the tribe. The white Raja. So he became the white Raja of this tribe. Okay, so this is what is accepted as true, see, might not be the truth. See? So this is the problem with research, or challenge to research. What is believed to be true might not be the truth. Okay, even though it's accepted as the truth as well, because everybody believes it's the truth. Of course, you know about Galileo, right? What's the story of Galileo? Before that, what is the truth? Yes. And what is his penalty? Oh, yeah. Very serious. Yeah. The church at that time viewed this very serious. So the truth then in the Christian world was the sun goes around the earth. Because you see this every day, the earth, you know, The sun goes out in the east, goes back in the west, and next day it comes out in the... So it goes around the world. It's not the truth. It's discovered much later. Yeah? But in Islam, we know this a long time as well. Before this, that the sun stays in one place. It's the earth that moves around the sun. See? So that's the difference. So what is the truth might not be the truth. And of course, in the old days, the world is known to be flat. Is that the truth? It's not. It's like a ball. Now we know, taking pictures from outside, in the sky, we know it's not flat at all. See, so this is the thing. So what is accepted as the truth might not be the truth. Yeah, sure. Yeah. In the mind, yes. Yes, beyond reasonable doubt, yes. Well, there's a cause of saying that give us the confidence beyond reasonable doubt that this is what happened. This is the fact. Yes, of course. Yes. That's why they confess. Even the decisions to hang one person is still by majority rule, majority decision. It must be overwhelmingly majority. In the days of the jury, trial by jury, should be 10-2. The 12-man jury, that's overwhelmingly majority. If it is 4, 4-8, it's still not good enough. Right? Okay, the truth. It must be in accordance with reality. This is about that as now. But the model trial must be in accordance with reality and must be genuine. Yeah? It must be accurate, not spurious. See? So characteristics of research is like that as well. It must be accurate, not spurious. One time like this, next time like that, this sample like this, sample like that. So it is inconclusive. Okay? Exact, conforming to standard. This is another one. Conforming to standard or expectation. Yeah? Standard. I'm going to mention the word again, this standard, shortly. Okay. Now we'll go to the thesis. Can I have a cup? Yes. Okay. So this is a thesis. By dictionary definition, a thesis is proposition to be proved. Yeah? So that is the definition of the word thesis. So your thesis, as a result of PhD research, it must be in that line. Yeah? You have proposition, you prove the proposition, that is a thesis. So that is what the word means. What is a proposition? A proposition is statement or assertion subject to proof. But in research, we have something else called the hypothesis. Hypothesis, what's the difference between hypothesis and proposition? There's a slight difference there. You have a proposition, you have a hypothesis. Right. A proposition is something you expect because of experience. You expect it to happen like that. You ask this guy, it's supposed to happen like this. Another guy, he says it happens like this. Another guy, so this is the part that you do what is called qualitative research. You heard of qualitative research? Yeah. qualitative research is what you do to get the proposition. See? To get to the proposition, you do qualitative research. You ask this, you ask that, you ask another guy, 10, 14, 15 of them. That would be enough for you to get the proposition from their experiences, from their observation. Okay? It's not hypothesis. See? You get the position. You go another round, you collect certain data. Possibly you do pilot study. See, the pilot study would tell you should be able to make hypothesis. You have already data now in hand, not just what you hear people say. You have data. So based on that data, you create hypothesis. This is related to this positively. See, this variable is related to another variable negatively. That is called the hypothesis, because now you can go and test it. So you use a questionnaire, the next round, you use the questionnaire to get the data to support or not support the hypothesis. See? You got the difference between proposition and hypothesis. In the old days, you have to do all this to do a PhD. You have to get the quantitative data or quantitative interviews to form your proposition and then test it on a limited sample to get your hypothesis. See, at each stage, you can already publish papers if you want to. So that's in the old days. That's why it takes a long time to get a PhD. 6, 7 years is normal. Nowadays, we're talking in the frame of 3 to 4 years. So, what we do in the PhD nowadays is what is called truncated PhD. Yeah? You can either do the qualitative one completely, or you do the testing of hypothesis one completely. You can do that. Nowadays, it's acceptable. In other words, if you starting with hypothesis, you have to get it all from the literature. You might want to test it again. It's a pilot study, that's okay. Yeah. So that, nowadays, is a 2-level kind of thing. Yeah? All right. So proposition is statement or assertion subject to proof. And in your thesis, you have to make a stand and find proof for it. So that's the job of doing the thesis. In other words, in your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, yeah, you have to make a statement, which we call now a research problem. See, you have to find the phenomenon, break it up into dependent variable, independent variable, and get support for what you make as your statement of research. So that is what is our thesis. Okay? Are you with me? Yes? Or I have lost you? I hope not. Now this side, you're so quiet. Are you with me there? Yes? Those 2 Iranian girls that I met last night. What do you say? Yes, okay, good to hear that. Because quiet can mean many things. quality research. Coming back to the topic. Quality research, what is meant by quality? I'm giving you definitions of each one, so that becomes, we share this common idea. Quality is a degree of excellence fit for use. Oh, that very important one, meeting standards. Meeting standards. So there must be standards in almost everything, right? Even the light bulb, they got standard. You know what? This light bulb, they got standard. What is a standard? In Malaysia, we use British Institute of Standards. Yeah? Or British Standards Institute, BSI. Of course, we have Malaysian standards as well. But our Malaysian standards are very close related with the British standard. Yeah? Even the cement you work on, they got standards. And last and not least, your PhD will have to have standards. Yes. Yes. Standards can be rigid and testable like the cement or the light bulb. Okay? But of course, in terms of PhD research, the standards are not like that. You cannot put it into a machine to test, but it's still standard. So quality research means excellent investigation that meets the standard. See, those standards. That meets the standards. In other words, standards are there. Okay? What standards? For a novel, book for general reading, textbook, consultancy, you see? And of course, we're talking about PhD standard. Sure, right? Yeah. Okay, yes. Definition. Okay. Yeah, of course, yes. Standard is something that is determined by a group of people to be qualifying for certain things. Okay. You know, in my school days, we have standards in sports. We call it standard which everybody has to qualify. Yeah, you test. You see, in the old days, we have houses in school. You remember some of them? In sports day, yes. Just before the sports day, you have to qualify. Everyone has got to do it. So they have established a standard. For high jump, is this for boys and for girls. You know that? I remember those days. Of course, some people qualify, some don't. And from there, of course, the teachers will, or the captain will pick up those who are good ones. See? To be on competition for the sports day. But they have standards. And the standards are decided by the group of people who said this, everyone should qualify for this. Yeah? Those from 4 and from 5 usually together. So there's a senior one, then the junior one, 1 to 3, from 1 to 3 in the secondary school, right? So it's like that. So let's say for senior one, from 4, from 5, you have to qualify high jump, 4 feet, 5 inches. I think that would be about the standard. So it's decided by a certain group of people. That would be the standard. Same for everything. That means that standard is set by people who know, professionals in that field. Right? Any clearer? So that, yes, of course, yes. So this is the thing. Well, we're coming to that. We're coming to that. That's the question that we are uppermost in. Yeah. Okay, we'll go for that. Okay. So this is about your degree. It's called the PhD. The P is what? Oh, P is the philosophy. H? Yeah, philosophy is a PH, okay? Of course, other people will say PhD is permanent head damage. Yes, of course. That's possible as well. Yeah. But the PH is a philosophy. So D is Doctor of Philosophy in something. See? So you have to deserve this. PhD, not the permanent head damage one, but you got to be a Doctor of Philosophy. Yeah? In other words, you have understanding, you have knowledge that can help others to learn about that area. See, the mastery of knowledge in that particular area. Okay, so philosophy means, the word is philosophize in English. It doesn't start with philosophy. It starts with philosophize. What is it? Reason like a philosopher. Speculate, which is another very good word. Theorize, moralize. That means to say good or bad about it. But that is why I missed that out. But I put speculate and theorize as the important ones there. You should be able to make predictions. Yeah? Not speculate in the way like the stock market. No? So that's more erratic. We don't want that. We want that speculation must be according to certain system, yes, certain rules. And to theorize, that's the most important one. Should be able to theorize, to contribute to theory. See, out of what you study. See? All right, philosophy is the use of reason and argument in seeking truth and the knowledge. See, go back to the word truth and knowledge. So we should be able to contribute to truth and knowledge of reality. Of reality. That reality is the truth. Okay? Especially the causes and nature of things, the principles governing existence of the material physical universe, and perception of physical phenomena. That's about the science one. And of course, human behavior. Our management comes the last one. Yeah? Much so, very much so. The last part, the human behavior, which is more complex than any physical thing. Okay? So this is what we are after, to make you doctors of philosophy. So you have to qualify to do this. Okay? This is what you are, the standards that we talk about. Okay? If this one is not available to a lot of people. Yeah? In fact, to students, they don't give this to you. I will let you know, because this is the one that the examiners will get from the universities that they evaluate. Bedok University 2008. See, send me something like this. Of course, there are explanations of each one, but I give you this one. I would think it would be enough as a guide. Number one, PhD, clear evidence of originality and scholarship. See, clear evidence of originality and scholarship. What is originality here? Masterpiece. That's a bigger word. originality means something new. Yes. Something new. That means you are putting something that is not there yet. Yeah? So do you have to establish that? That what you are giving is not what is given before. At least a bit of it, a part of it, must be shown that it is new. So that you can claim it's yours, your contribution. Okay? So that is originality. So in other words, you have to do your literature very well so that there is a gap. You know, your identification of the gap. You always say that. And that has got to go through in your thesis. This is the area which you are making contribution in. Okay? And scholarship means it's got to be systematic, it's got to be done thoroughly, you know, it got to be done meticulously. You should be able to communicate this so that others can understand, so that's scholarship. Okay? Next one, capacity for independent analysis and critical thought. That means you don't follow what others have done. Yeah? Use your critical thinking. Yeah? So to evaluate what others have done. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Right? So this is that part. Critical thought, okay? So you must be able to evaluate what others have done, not just blindly follow. Okay. Make significant distinctive contribution to knowledge. Again, that goes back to that originality just now. Yeah? Must be able to claim this is something that's not done before, or the conclusion cannot be drawn from before. That's why you're doing it again. Okay? Next one is what? Relate the topic of research to broader framework of the disciplines. So this is philosophizing. Yeah? Relate what you have done here with other related areas, because you can make contribution to those areas as well. Next one is clearly, accurately, cogently written, suitably illustrated, documented. That's a report one. Okay? Clearly, accurately, cogently written. Okay? All right. Confusion is the beginning of knowledge. So there's another added one. Yeah? In other words, to get to the light, you go through darkness. So that's the confusion. You live in confusion because it is, you don't know. So that's why he's saying that. Just keep on. All right, next one. This is DBA, just like PhD. This is DBA one. You go through it and see, is it similar to that old one, which was a PhD one? With this DBA one? You go one by one and see. Clear, well-argued, critical exposition of the research problem, methodology and findings. Build on and extend current knowledge in management practice or public policy linking a project to critical review of relevant literature. Demonstrate ability to work independently according to the predetermined schedule. So they have a certain schedule. Demonstrate appropriate application of research design. That means it follows good practices in research, data collection, and data analysis. Okay, next one, relate research to wider area of knowledge in the business field. So Chartered University, which is also Australian University. All right, so this is another one. And you look through this, they are almost the same. Almost the same. But within this, of course, the lecturers or the examiners would also be given, this is a DBA thesis, and this is a PhD thesis. And within the committee, we will decide what is best for this thesis, which is a DBA thesis, for example, and what is the best for PhD thesis. But there are no clear demarcations of what is a PhD thesis, what is a DBA thesis. But we agree, DBA thesis should be shorter, less intensive than the PhD, because we need more for PhD. In other words, the expectations of the PhD is higher in the thesis, because the DBA has done a lot more work before that. You have to do maybe 10 or 8 coursework already before that. Okay? So that is no clear demarcation. Yeah. Yes.
How do you see from the DBA point of view how much of that can this PhD is very important for the student?
Yeah.
And how do you see it from the DBA point? How much should we philosopherize in the DBA?
Less. A little bit less. But we must be there still. It still is an academic work. So that is the contention. It's not consultancy work. That's why I raised the consultancy earlier. So we must differentiate what is a thesis and what is that consultancy work. And the thesis must give that part of the contribution to knowledge as well. That means it must be theory-based as well, and not purely consultancy, which is problem-solving. See, the difference is between problem-solving research and contribution to knowledge. So if possible, for the DBA, we got to have both elements. Problem-solving, but based on theory. That would be the best. Yes? Any other? Okay, so this is, you see, is very similar, but in terms of intensity and complexity, DBA will be a bit lower, and the thesis will be smaller. PhD may be 200 and above. DBA may be 100 pages. Yeah, about 100 to 200 pages will do it. Yeah, normally the PhD more than 200 pages. Okay, in terms of length. All right. This is our PhD degree, Malaysian one. This is what we get from MQA. It's a bit confusing actually. Okay, but we try to put everything there. Because the science and everything, we try to make it very general, and it becomes confusing. Well, still, I mean, more or less, the question of standard is still very much the same. You see that? Technical analysis, evaluation, synthesis of new complex ideas, communicate with peers, and so on. So it's still very, very similar. Okay? Oh, this is another one. DBA, South Australia. So I was examiner for this university as well. All right, so this is some more. This is South Australia as well. Continuation. Some more. A very detailed one from South Australia. But the ideas are still very much similar. You can get a copy of this if you want. Okay, so now the body of the research, or body of the thesis. You know this well, of course. You have to do this. The according to those chapters, or you can break them up into more chapters. Yeah, but you have to have them. Conclusion, on the conclusion, or just before the conclusion. Yes. A PhD need not have that. The PhD need not have recommendations. Recommendation for future research, yes. But recommendations for implementation, that is for the consultancy. Okay? All right. And from here we go on to what are the various chapters that you should have. See? The anatomy of it is like that. Okay? I leave you some questions. Okay, literature is a problem area actually. Where to stop is a problem. But you must be thorough, exhaustive, must be quite meticulously done as well, must be coherent as well. So that is in the literature. Theory is very important. Choice of theory. Yeah? There could be more than one theory that you can apply for a particular phenomenon. Previous studies is very important. And the last one, that's where you can claim the contribution that we said earlier. Define these gaps very clearly. Okay, methodology, framework, hypothesis, measurement. So those are to be emphasized. Yeah, and there could be conflicting measurements, even for each variable that you use. So make the choice wisely. Question of sample, question of unit of analysis, those have to be identified very clearly. The one we talk about techniques of data analysis. Now we talk about how to get that knowledge. Is it through differences, through relationship? No, so that is important. So those of you who are not sure about statistics, you need to study some statistics. Okay. You see them? Results. Factor analysis, reliability. Those of you who are still studying, getting your data, you have to know when you collect the data, what are you going to use for your tests? Yeah? What statistical tool are you going to use? Okay. Yeah. One, definitely a good framework must be supported by theory. So you have to start from theory. Yeah, the theory is given in the literature. So that's how you relate with the literature. Okay? A framework, a good framework, must be logical. Logical is like fact. Yes. Like the truth. Yes. They must flow from one to the other. You must be able to defend that flow. See? A framework is like input, output analysis. Yes. You must flow from one to the other. Because when you put a framework, it shows a line. A line is a relationship. So you have to be able to support that. that relationship. And that relationship must be logical. It must be something, you see, out of the blue. See, that this why you need to have that qualitative research to establish that. See? So that's how it goes. If you can provide that support, then the framework is all right. Then you put it to the test with the data collection. So it is quite, and not so difficult on that part. Yeah? Okay, any other question there? All right, so this is a framework. Is it entirely new? You know? Now, so the weakness might be you want to make something new. What is established is this. So you want to insert something in that framework. What you insert, you want to establish that it is something new. See, that's where I think the question will come around. So whether you can put that in and still support it. See? So that one you have to go back to, if that is in the literature, which is not research yet, yeah? Especially if this comes very momentous time actually. Yes, I'm in the area of Islamic management. Haji Kamal and this. Yeah. Yeah. So it's very difficult, especially when you want to start something new. You want to relate what is earthly actually. Management business is very earthly. You know, how relate to afterward. That's a big gap, big jump. And we say there is, so you have to get that support. Yeah? And of course, you have to get support, especially from those who don't believe in the same way as we do in Islam. It's harder still. It's double the job to bring that logic, you see. Especially from non-believers. I mean, those who don't believe in Christianity, those who don't believe in God at all. See? So that's preposterous to them. Then we have to marry the two. We have to marry the knowledge of religion with the knowledge of those who don't believe in religion. So that's a double job that you have to do. You're studying something like that. You want to know more about it, then we'll have another session on just on that issue. Yeah. Okay, so this is one. People don't like this, what I put here. Provide new framework and restatement of hypothesis. That means halfway through, you revise the framework. For some people, that's a no-no. Because the thesis earlier said, we make a statement, prove it. You remember I stated that earlier in the thesis definition? Make a statement or stand and get the proof for it, and they go by that. But here I said, what? New framework, restatement of hypothesis. After you have done the, for example, your pilot test, you make another, yes. 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 Well, I am from the positivistic school. Yeah. So I prefer more of that, or in fact both. We call it grounded theory approach. Yeah, but you can do research based entirely on qualitative. Yes. Yes. I suggest for you, those of you who have not studied, take a company like Sangabi, go over 120 years study. That will give you PhD. Yes. A 50-year study, that will be enough. You study, 50-year study or 50-year study of Sangabi or Maybank. Do a study of it. you can't prove very much because it happened only in Maybank. So it was inductive study. Yes, you can do that. Okay, so that's you can have a new framework for me, but for some others they say no, we don't do that based on the earlier one. That to me, when you can refine that, is a better step forward. Okay? That's why I put it. You have got some data, you refine your framework and make new statements of hypothesis based on your early data and revise it. Okay? And report it as well. Some people don't report, even they do that. Okay, hypothesis testing. CT test, chi-square, ANOVA. ANOVA a little bit, that is differential test. You make tests of differences, getting knowledge from knowing differences. Next one, ANOVA regression, that is for predicting purposes. Based on the model, you make some predictions. Okay, OSAM. And you report results of this test. So this is for chapter 4. Chapter 5. Okay, so this is about reporting your findings. Okay, and discussion of your results. And then you go on to implication for theory, implication for practice, and some would put implication for research method as well. Okay, suggestions for future research, limitations of study, conclusion. So that will be the last part of your thesis. There's another one, Charles Sturt University as well. So this is general comment or questions for examiners to keep in mind with the research. Okay? So you can take this as well from the secretary. Bibliography, this is important as well. Don't forget this. Yeah? How to make references and appendices. Okay? Okay, we conclude with this verse from the Quran. This reward from God for being able to know something. Yeah, there be a reward to those who create knowledge or who find some new knowledge. Okay? Because the complete knowledge is with God. And for those who get new knowledge, for the others to benefit, they get salvation in the next world. So that's what he says. Okay, so reward for the truth. Okay. Okay, alhamdulillah. So that's what I've got for you. Any questions? Question time.
Prof. Sulaiman, one question. We use the term for the independent variable. Sometimes you say factor, sometimes we say antecedents, sometimes we say determinants. Are these terms used can be used interchangeably, or are there some specific situation that we must use certain terms?
They are not the same. Antecedents are variables which precede another something. It doesn't show any relationship. That's antecedent. Something happens before something else.
There's a causal relationship, then we can use the antecedent.
Not necessarily. Antecedent is something that happens
before.
Okay. That's it. You might not, you don't understand the cause and effect. In other words, it's free of that.
There's factor and determinants.
Determinants is something else. That's a very strong word. Determinants you should not use, in fact, in our kind of research. because nothing in management can be proven to be the determinant. It's a very strong word which we don't use. Unless, I don't know, in finance, you can prove it, 99% maybe, but not otherwise.
So factor probably is a safe term to use.
Yes. Factors will be all right.
Okay, thanks.
Factors, they come together in a certain way, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your sharing this knowledge. However, when I studied PhD, I still wonder as if I work in the reality and then I find out the phenomena, and when I will find the article or theory to support my phenomenon, but I cannot find how. In your opinion, can you explain me how can I make the literature review for that? You understand me?
Make it simpler.
Yeah. Simple, right? If you work the phenomena or the potential factor that you want to discover is about us, and you cannot find some document or article or theory to support you to make the literature review, how can I solve that problem?
Oh, okay.
Very, very simple for PhD still.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Actually, to find the phenomenon is not so difficult. But you have to be able to read a lot. Yeah. So you read the papers on what you are interested in. Can you tell me what are you interested in? Can you tell me what are you interested in? What is it you are interested in? Yes? Entrepreneurship. Okay. All right. So entrepreneurship is a very wide area actually. You can find a lot of determinants or a lot of phenomena in there. You can find any area, I bet you can find a phenomenon of interest, which is not fully understood yet. It must be not fully understood. If it is all written all over, thousands of papers in that area, there's no need to study. Yes. Find something interesting, something unique, so that you can claim the work. The work you're doing is making a contribution. Yeah? So in entrepreneurship, you can study the whole entrepreneurship business. You can find finance. You can find marketing in entrepreneurship. There's so many ways, so many areas. Yes. So that's how you go about it. And I'm sure you can get support of the literature. Right? Yes.
There's a big difference between DBA and PhD. Today I have known. But so far I have seen people write after their name PhD even if they are DBA, not PhD. But they write a PhD after their name. How far it is correct?
A PhD is a PhD. A DBA is a DBA. Yes. Yes. They are called doctors as well. University recognize that. But the degree belongs to the university. So you have to follow what you are awarded with. Right? It will be a misrepresentation if you do otherwise.
Okay, Prof, you mentioned two big words. One is thorough, and the other one is exhaustive. In fact, Prof Ben also mentioned. The question is, thoroughness is also subjective. Yeah, I mean, when you start researching, you start reading literature, find out one relate to another.
Yeah.
You know, and almost there's no ending. So where is the guideline? How do you set the border? You know, and there could be also different between qualitative and also quantitative research. So where do you actually stop and say, okay, this is enough? You know, otherwise you never end.
All right. Thank you. Very good question. Well, when to stop? That is a main question. Don't stop. Don't stop. But there's a time. We have a budget. We have a time limit. Right? So we have to decide to stop. So when to stop? You stop when there's no one new literature to look for. Yeah? Now, when you know that there is no more, so that is a question. But the question there is, as you said, very subjective. But there is a time when you do it, you find the same things over and over. Yeah. So you come to that point, then you stop.
Is that applicable for quantitative as well? I think that's more for both, huh?
Both, yes.
Okay.
Yes. You find, I mean, in the journals, the same, more or less the same thing. So these papers, you categorize them, belong to this group of studies, such as, for example, contingency theory. This group belongs to resource-based theory. This one belongs to asset, theory. This one to TCE. Yeah? So you come to talk to me what you want to know about it. Yeah. So you go by categories of research. And then it comes back to the same over and over when the series is up. That's thorough. Yes. Or
that's what they call a saturation point. Isn't it?
yes, saturation point. Yes, exactly. So you can defend it. You go over again, it's the same, more or less from the same source, in other words. What is this? You have other questions, no?
Actually, my other question is, okay, we're quite familiar with moderating variable and also mediating.
Yeah.
In some other literature which I read, they also use, they call it additive variable. Additive, example, what they mean is instead of you test moderating effect or mediating, you add additional variable to the current variable. Is that a normal practice or?
Not necessarily.
No.
But you can use those as moderating variable. Yeah? But you have to know the difference between moderating and mitigating variable. Yeah.
So what, if you just add additional variable to the existing, what do you call that?
Unnecessary.
Huh?
It's unnecessary. You can use as control variable. Yes. To understand your sample better, you can do, but it's not really necessary. You focus, be guided by your framework, be guided by your hypothesis. And that's done. Yeah, there's something here. Question there, yes.
If a particular PhD student is working towards development of a business model, the research inquiry is working towards the development of business model, what guiding advices would you like to give?
Okay. You mean business model, huh? Okay, so business model, well, get the studies in this area. First of all, get studies in this area. Yeah. Papers written on the area of building business model. Okay. There's a first time literature, in other words. Okay. After that, then find the theories. Is there any theory to build this model? I know something people study on, for example, best practices. That would be close enough to motto for business. Best practices and research. MBNQA, MBNQA. And is Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award. So that's a good start if you're going to build a business model. Maybe people like Queen can help. Queen. So go to this literature. And the guys from Canada group of researchers. Yeah. Okay, so that's separate models. Yes, you can marry them. In fact, that is what is suggested in our literature, to combine the theories. Don't use isolated theories. It's encouraged, yes, but it's not going to be easy. There'll be a challenge involved, yes.
I think we have to end the session right now.
Oh, really?
Thank you so much, Professor Mohamed Sulaiman, for the intelligent information on anatomy of quality research. May we please have the Associate Professor Dr. Janaka, the Head of Institute of Postgraduate Studies, to kindly present the token of appreciation to our honorable guest speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Now we can proceed to have our lunch break and be back at 1:30 p.m.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Whoever want to take a group photo with Prof. Sulaiman, please stand on the stage. Our after lunch session will start at 1:30 because we are a bit behind time, so I'll give you a bit more time to rest. Come back at 1:30, please.
Guys, quickly, let's go. Quickly. Choppy, come on. Come on. Okay, quick! What? Quick! 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay. Quickly, ladies. Choppy. Side.